there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I will be taking a look at another one of the Louis Vuitton travel books. This one is Lorenzo Mattoti's Vietnam. Right from the cover, you can see, if you don't know Mattoti's work, you can see he's pretty badass. I have become really obsessed with Mattoti lately because of his use of shape and color. There's a relationship between his work and the Bay Area realists, the Bay Area figurative artists such as Wayne Thiebaud and Richard Diebenkorn. So that's like an area that I grew up in. I'm like really familiar. I mean, these are artists that are internationally renowned, obviously, but there's something I'm very familiar with. I actually got to meet Wayne Thiebaud very briefly once because a friend was a student of his. And I just really like the way Mattoti deals with color. His pen and ink work is really gorgeous. The first book I read of his actually was Garlandia, which was an entirely pen and ink book. But as I start to get into his color work and his illustration work, I got a book of his illustrations. I don't even remember if I recorded a video on that or not. But the way he uses shapes, his abstraction of shapes, all of that is very compelling to me. I had previously bought and reviewed Gio Taniguchi's Venice, which was much more of a story, as well as Francois Schuyten's Mars, which is a bit funny as a travel sketchbook because you can't actually go there. But this is part of a program where Louis Vuitton is sending these artists out to actually visit these places, except obviously Mars, and having them make a sketchbook and a bunch of illustrations and printing these books and keeping the artworks in their collections and things like that. So a really cool program by Louis Vuitton. This book, I'll admit, even though all the illustrations are beautiful, it's definitely more of a sketchbook. There's some pieces like this that feel more like finished illustrations, and this shows off like the color and the shape and the compositional stuff that I really like from Mattoti. But a lot of it seems quicker like this. There's still beautiful cartooning and beautiful abstraction, but it doesn't quite feel as finished. Also, this book is more what I suspect the majority of these travel books are, which really are just like sketchbooks in this landscape format. I think the majority of the artists that go out there aren't even narrative comic artists, but the Venice and Mars ones were so narrative, and because Mattoti does do comics as well as straight up illustration, I was hoping that there would be some narrative thread, I guess, in this one as well. But this one's very much just a sketchbook. It doesn't feel like many finished pieces. Some of the sketches like this, they're nice, not so interesting. Some of the more finished colored ones like this really show what I love about Mattoti. But even these just straight sketches like this show what a great artist he is. This is all obviously just straight to ink or straight to the pastels or whatever on the spot type of sketching. When you get these big images like this, you really see his power as an artist. This one's a really nice too. And his swapping of materials like the watercolor, the markers, the pastels or color pencils or whatever he's using are really beautiful all throughout. But I'll admit that this one's not as satisfying as the other two because it is more scattered in what kind of imagery you respond to. Oh, I like the ink one better than the pencil one. This kind of ink work is what I'm familiar with from the Garlandia, especially this cross-hatching look here. But beautifully produced book, beautiful art all throughout. It's really fun to see a master play with all of these different styles, play with all these different shapes. And for me, as someone who's pretty obsessed with Mattoti right now, even the stuff that feels less finished is very informative, or seeing how he's happy to be like, this is going to be a quick sparse one, and this is going to be this really thoroughly worked out, almost finished piece. There's a lot to be learned from this. So really, really cool book. Still glad I got it as a Mattoti obsessive. I would say, though, that this makes me hesitant because these are pretty expensive. I think they're like 60 to 80 bucks a piece. Makes me pretty hesitant to go out anymore. If I had all the money in the world, I think it would be cool to have a full collection of these. There's a couple more that are by artists I recognize, but the majority of the other ones I haven't got are by artists I don't recognize. Let me see. There was like a, no, I took it out. There was like a little ad of all the other ones in here. So I probably won't be rushing out and buying any more of these unless I win the lottery or something. I got the 3 by the artists that I know, and this last one is showing me that my suspicion is probably correct for the rest of them, that they're not as narrative, that they are more of just sketchbooks and not collections of a bunch of finished art. But really happy still to have more Mattoti. I would die for a complete Mattoti library, including sketchbooks, all of his illustration work, all of his comics work translated. That's something I wish we could have in English, because this is somebody I'm obsessed with, and I would look at every little napkin sketch they did. So still very, very happy with this book. And if you can afford them, I can at least highly recommend these 3, and go look at what other ones they have, because there might be an artist that you're a fan of that I don't know about, and it'd be well worth having.